that is that LPX chain on my 372. Now, in theory, they're supposed to work better when it's cold, that they're supposed to stay sharp longer in clean wood. I have to say, it cuts really well. This is oak. That's elm over there. And it actually works very well. And considering, I paid like $12 a piece for them, pretty good chain. And the idea of the lasting longer in cold weather, I figured I'd try that today because it was 35 below this morning, about 15 below now. So, you know, in a normal chain, that's, I'm pleased with that. And I'll have to kind of keep a lookout if they do a deal on them again. But I should say too, you know, one of the things that I got off of YouTube, you know, because I'm always, you know, it's good for information if you can, you know, sort through what's good and what's bad. But when I was looking to buy a saw, I looked on YouTube. I watched a lot of different videos from a lot of different people to kind of sort out what I wanted to buy. You know, I knew I was going to buy Husqvarna, but which particular model? Well, I'd settled on the 372. And I have absolutely no regrets about that. But all of the reviews that I saw on them, you know, they've been around a while. They're very well liked. You know, now they made a 572 that's supposed to replace it. But, man, I don't know how you could beat this. You know, I bought it mainly for the ripping stuff that I do. Though I do some wood cutting if I'm like in this big elm, well, then I use it. But I've used it a lot over these years that I've had it. And it's been a really excellent saw. I changed the spark plug on it one time. And I did put this full wrap bar on it, which I'm really glad I did. It makes it a lot handier for when I'm ripping. It's just a lot easier. There's no problem with that, except that it does make it a little harder to adjust the chain if you've got the long wrench. If you've got the short wrench, it's just fine. There's no problem. But this is a really great saw. You know, I've been really impressed with that. But that's why I would hesitate to go and jump to a 572 when, boy, I see no problem with these. You know, it's just the right balance of weight to power. You know, most of my wood cutting I actually do with my old 55. You know, 55 Rancher, which had been around a real long time. But I cut a lot of wood with that because I got the same 20-inch bar on the same chains and stuff on it. But, you know, and that's been an excellent saw. I certainly got no complaints about that one. But for being a bigger saw, a more powerful saw, you can't go wrong with one of these. Been really impressed with it. But, see, that's the thing. You gotta, you know, people always argue about, oh, this saw is the best and that saw is the best. But when you hear people talking, you know, bragging up any of the consumer models, you know, your regular commercial homeowner type saws, which is what you get if you buy in a big box store, they're all about the same. You know, they're all poor examples of what the saws used to be. But when you get into the commercial models, that's a whole different world. There you got something to brag about. But when I see people saying, you know, oh, I've got this certain saw that, oh, this is a wonderful saw, and it's just one of them plastic commercial models, and they cut maybe a pickup load of wood a year. You know, I use a saw a lot. So I need a good saw. And I don't know how you could get any better than these 372s. You know, they make bigger saws, but I don't need a bigger saw. This is just the right balance. And it's been just a trouble-free saw. You really can't go wrong with them. I'm really glad I bought that. But, you know, when I'm going to make a major purchase like what this was, I do a little research, and that's the one time when YouTube actually did me good. You know, I kept running into people very pleased that there's 372s. You know, so I had no hesitation about buying it. But if you use a saw at all, you really got to go with the commercial models. You really can't. Those consumer grade saws are really they're worth what you pay for them, but I'd sooner pay a little more and get a lot more saw. You know, because I'll have this saw for a long time. You know, like my 51 and my 55, I've had them forever. And saws like this, they don't ever quit making parts for them. There'll be parts for the 372 forever because they're just a good saw. Really like that. Well, I got to cut wood ahead because we had some snow. Well, yeah, about 2 or 3 inches, but it's a light, fluffy stuff. Okay, not a problem until you get a wind. You know, then the stuff is going to move. So I've got to figure one of these days, I know for the next like 2 or 3 days, we're going to have like 30-mile-an-hour winds every night. Well, it doesn't really pay to go out until that wind quits. But I think like Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to have to make a round on the snowplow. So I'm getting wood ahead so I don't have to worry, you know, I don't have to be cutting wood in the dark. And this elm, I don't normally like dealing with elm, but there was a big stand of dead one here. The oak that's underneath it is one of the tops where I cut, you know, the stump is way back there, and then I cut a piece off, hauled the log out of here, and then this top has been laying here. The good part, I kind of left this one in reserve because I'm only like maybe 40, 50 yards from my house. So I'm easy, I can drag it with the sled. You know, I don't have to get a vehicle started and try to work around, you know, getting back in here. Though I did use a tree, and I will use the tractor again to pull the tree, you know, get it out in the open, but I got to get some of this trash out of the way. But when you get an elm like this is part of that elm. When they're the standing dead stuff, when they get to the point where the bark falls off, and they kind of clink when you hit them together, that's good burning wood. If you let them go too long, then it gets just punky. The good part is, this stuff splits up really easy now. When it's just cold, you know, you can split ash or elm or anything. Even if oak splits really easy, you know, when it's cold. But I gotta get this get this load home and then get another load. But I think I got pretty enough cut to have a little buffer in there. Because I don't really cut wood ahead, I kind of cut all winter. But I'm pleased with that chain. That's the LPX, what they call the Pro Cut. But good chain. But Oregon just makes good chains.